So good morning, good afternoon, everyone. This is the Transmitio Summer Internship Program for 2026. Today, we're just going to go through the summary of our internship. Our first question is, looking back on the summer, what's been the most valuable part of your experience in the Transmitio Summer Internship Program?
I think the most important part of my experience has been really working with a team that's been around the world. I've learned a lot about working in a group and being timely, understanding what everybody's technical expertise is. I've really enjoyed working in a team.
The most valuable part of the internship for me was working on a real project, and I'm really honored to be trusted with one. I learned how teams collaborate, get pull requests, review code, and solve problems together. Probably the most important part for me was becoming more comfortable with reading documentation, asking questions, and just also figuring stuff out.
So I think the most valuable part of my experience has been the environment, the people I'm surrounded with. Everyone here is very supportive of each other, and also the flexibility in this internship program has definitely been a valuable part.
The most valuable part about this internship has just been meeting the team and working with the team, as well as going through the different projects, understanding what the different clients need, as well as the talks that are happening in between to different people, different cultures, how to work as a team, regardless of where the person is, but just working together to get the goal done.
Our next question is, how was your experience developing and integrating the first MCP server with the web app and working in a global team to build it?
I think that working on the fast MCP server was a great learning experience, especially in the world of AI. I think that it was really valuable that working in a team, having everybody have different parts to work on, working on more testing side of implementing the MCP versus the more functional and technical side of implementing it was great to switch between weeks and really, get the full experience of what it means to be part of the software development lifecycle.
For me, it was also a great experience because I got to work on something that different people were building together. In my team, we were able to separate the work properly and equally within each other, communicating, supporting each other, and reviewing the code properly on time. For the fast MCP server, I learned how server communicates with web application, how APIs are structured, and how just different components fit together.
I've been having a fantastic experience developing the MCP server. It's definitely something new. When I heard that this is what I'd be doing for this internship, I was really excited, especially since MCPs are pretty popular right now with how AI has been progressing. Just working with my team, Mika and Kate, they've been nothing but amazing.
Moving on to the AI project. What AI project or projects did you build during the AI hobby days, and what was the most interesting thing you learned or created from it?
Over the course of the AI hobby days in the internship, I've been working on 2 projects. I have worked on an Unreal Engine MCP server, which creates environments using Unreal Engine tools. And then I've also started working on a AI content automation system, which uses Claude API and DaVinci Resolve API to edit long VODs to shorter highlight videos and clips. I think that I picked both of these out of pure interest and curiosity in the field. And then also I would say that I've learned entirely new skill sets that I didn't think I would learn. Like, for example, how lighting works in Unreal Engine or anything Unreal Engine specific. I think it's definitely been a great driver for my curiosity in different softwares and tools going forward. So definitely enjoyed it.
During the AI hobby days, I was able to build 3 projects. The first one was the resume builder, the second one was the finance tracker, and the third one is about the rack pipelines. I think the most interesting thing I learned was that whatever that comes to my mind, I can build it using AI. And I learned how to do a proper research before coding. Doing any of the projects, since they were different, I was able to get many other different skills and just also become a better coder.
So I worked on a couple projects for my AI hobby days. The first one was the trading back tester. Essentially, it helps traders for like the stock market. It helps them to fine-tune their strategies and to give them more confidence with their edge or their strategy in the markets. For that project, I utilized Claude. It's probably the one of the first times that I've utilized APIs besides a club I'm in during the school year. That was probably the most interesting thing I've done in terms of the AI projects. I could never imagine I could like programmed something for trading. Other project that I'm working on right now is the Gmail auto labeler, which is a productivity software to essentially just help users organize their emails into labeling, into categories. So yeah.
Basically, during the AI hobby days, I've been working on a single project that's been going through different phases. I was working on a market agent to help with different export markets for agriculture produce, trying to look out at the link between the weather and how it affects export markets, especially for countries that are exporting. That eventually grew into developing a full market agent that can be used by different companies or different groups of people or communities. It's been an opportunity where you can research and by using just the help of the AI agents. Yeah.
How did manual testing and AI-assisted agentic testing change the way you think about finding bugs and improving user experience?
I would say that testing has been a big part of what I've learned new this summer. I've really enjoyed, especially agentic testing and using, which was what we used was open code to test our web app with different tool calls and the things that we actually implemented ourselves. And it also was interesting to see how manual testing differs from agentic testing in terms of bugs and errors and which errors it can find and which errors are a little bit more hidden to AI testing. I think that definitely has helped me understand how a user experience should work and how a UI should feel to a user. Something I'm going to incorporate anytime I'm working on, especially front end heavy websites, to just make sure that things work as intended and just work seamlessly.
For me, manual testing taught me to slow down and interact with the application the way that like other real users would do. AI-assisted testing helped me to come up with more test cases or other scenarios that I probably wouldn't think on my own. But overall, I learned that AI can make testing more efficient, but it's just still important for a person to actually sit down and test it on their own.
Testing has taught me to be creative when finding bugs. I think it has taught me to, keep an open mind, to consider every possibility there is. When you're looking at a web app, you want to test every button, you want to test every feature it has, essentially. It depends on how creative you are in your mind, in my opinion. However, if there's a limitation to that, then I think AI can step in and it can kind of help you expand your view or like perspective on the web app, that you're testing. It's able to uncover like bugs or issues that we might not see. It'll like uncover stuff from under the hood, which is great, I think. But yeah.
Manual testing has been slow. I can just say that. With manual testing, it depends how you started, and most of the times you do miss a lot of things with assistant or using AI agents. It's just really, really quick. You are able to spot some of the differences that you might have overlooked. Regardless of this, I do think they work very, very well if you use both, where you are first manual an application and then the AI tools to be able to help you with that.
What did creating accessibility focused UI tutorial videos teach you about designing software that's easier for everyone to use?
It's always taught me a lot. During this internship, I had the opportunity to create videos that show the flow of the web apps that we've been using from the user perspective, whether it's an admin user or just a basic user. This isn't the first time that I've created UI focused videos, but I think that I've always been a very graphically learning person, and I've always learned just how to make things easy for somebody when I've been making these videos. So always thinking about making things very visible, making things very, seamless in terms of smooth animations and clicking things, making sure that the user's never really confused on where to go to find some feature, where to interact to get help, or any other interaction on the web app. So I think that I've definitely learned a lot about how people think and how people see things in technology. And I think that it's a really useful skill, especially as AI comes into the workforce, and knowing how to you still have the skills and being able to appeal to that human aspect of human technology interaction.
Creating these videos and creating such tutorials has helped me realize that it makes you slow down, and really most users will probably use that's similar to yours. Has helped me really be understand, especially with the journey of software development, how you're supposed to design solutions that are actually going to really work for your users, especially with the way they interact with UI and making them how they feel, understanding exactly how they feel. So whenever we're creating the UI tutorials, it was able to help me also understand that there is also another aspect, especially when you're creating a software that's going to be used with people with different knowledge or abilities or with tech stuff, especially with different solutions that are popping up right now because of AI. Yeah.
A bonus question. Who has a question for me?
My question would be, what's the biggest thing you've learned as a project manager, managing us as a team, managing the other global teams that you're working with to develop the web app itself, and just keep the entire show running smoothly? Like, what's your number one tip for anybody who wants to lead a group of people like that?
At the core of running any project, big or small, you have to remember you're dealing with people. So, for example, when putting together the internship, what was most important to me was that the students or the interns are away from school on break, making sure that our schedules were flexible so that you're doing meaningful work, but you're still being, you're able to participate in life, in family events, in travel, in whatever else that you have to do in the day. It was really important to me to making sure that there's that balance, people first and process.
So you just said that you collaborate with a lot of different teams across different countries. How has having interns contribute to a real project impact at the company?
Having interns has really added to our creativity in the sense that we always have to slow down and realize you have to provide meaningful opportunity and project, but also balancing the risk because you're working on a real project. It's for a real client, providing meaningful guidance in the sense that you have a guide. You can look at it as many times as you need to. You can follow it offline, online. The number one requirement for me when I was working with the team was I just don't want busy work. I want work that can enhance the current project, because I think by the time you graduate, when you look back, when these projects we are working on right now are actually live, you will be able to remember the role you played in that project.
When you were busy developing the schedule for the internship, you also did include the talks. So how did you, apart from booking them, how did you come up with the themes and especially the way you place them, so that we would have different aspects, different knowledge aspects that each individual talk was sharing? So how did you come up with that?
So the industry leader talks is one thing I benefited a lot from my journey in the software development industry as a leader, a project manager, but I look at it from a high level as a leader. You learn from, of course, yourself. You look at the guide and you learn what you need to learn. You learn from your teammate. Like, for example, with the MCP work, 3 of you worked on it together. And when it comes to video, the 2 of you work together on it. And then when it comes to AI, you kind of individually worked on it, but you had an eye on what's happening in the industry, news, and all that. And then every Monday you presented to the team, and we all had a chance to learn from it. So from a leadership position, I also know I have access to a network of industry leaders, and that's what I call them. And it doesn't matter where in the world they are, because I support a global team. My number one goal was to try and connect with people from diverse industries, but also countries. So if you look at the data protection talk we had, which was the first one, it was from a leader in Kenya. And developing the current project, we always talk about GDPR, data protection guidelines, but to be able to have an expert from the Africa lens and to see how they took and extended the GDPR to make it relevant for that part of the world, Africa and all. You can't learn that in your engineering for the 4 years. You might encounter it later, but I thought that was a great opportunity. And then we had another leader, still from Africa, but from a different perspective. So you got to see about leadership and how you even start analyzing your strengths and weaknesses. And then we had a developer who is at the core of engineering, and they were able to talk about empathy and how it actually plays into when you're developing, when you're doing the core, hardcore science of it, that you should not lose sight of the art, right? Empathy aspect of it. Last week or the week before, we had a leader on project management. Project management goes beyond just managing your IT project, but it goes into real life. And we talked about it's not about completing the task, but it's about impact, right? And then this week, we are preparing to have another engineer that tells you, yes, we have AI, but what really counts is judgment, a human judgment. That's coming up on Thursday. So if you look at it from you as an engineer, you're forced to not only look at the science coding, but you're forced to get away from that and say, what are the leadership skills? How should I think about global teams? What other information should I get that I don't already have?